understanding the nervous system, and it has these two arms to it, the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. They might be fancy words that you might have not necessarily heard before, but in sort of terms that you will have probably heard, you'll have heard of fight or flight, or fight, flight or freeze. People have heard of that term and that idea of like when something stressful happens, like we have to respond to that, and the body kicks into this sympathetic tone is the fight or flight response, and going and doing something with that. Either we need to like run away, or we need to fight against things, or sometimes we just completely freeze. Now, the opposite of that is the relaxation response, the rest, digest, and that's the parasympathetic arm of the autonomic nervous system. And the body is constantly trying to be in flux to manage these two things. Our nervous system is related to our heartbeat, again, another autonomic function that's happening, and also related, that brings all these things in together, is our breathing. Now, our breathing is automatic if you don't if you don't think about it, you don't all of a sudden stop breathing, you carry on breathing, so it is something that's automatic by nature, but equally we have the choice and the power to be able to control and think about and change our breathing, and because these three things are linked, our breathing can then change our heartbeat, and it can change the effect on our nervous system. And if we can change the nervous system, by breathing, we can change our response to stress, because the nervous system is about managing stress within the body. So our inhalations are related more to sympathetic tone, that fight or flight response. And actually they speed up the heartbeat when we inhale. When we exhale, the heartbeat slows down, and you can actually put a pulse oximeter on or measure your heart rate. And you can see this happening if you think about extending an exhale, you'll see the heartbeat or your heart rate slow down. This happens with every breath that we do, but when we start to understand this, we can go, okay, if faster breathing stimulates and inhalation stimulate that fight or flight response, when I'm feeling stressed, noticing that, yeah, I am actually breathing faster and I am engaged in that inhale, I can choose to think about slowing down my breathing and give myself some tools to be able to do this, to be able to stimulate more of that relaxation, parasympathetic response. Now, I appreciate that if I'm feeling in a bit of a state of panic, just telling someone to slow your breathing down, like you're in a state like, I can't do that, like it's out of control. So we need some tools to be able to do that, and we're going to make sure we cover that throughout this course. But just to cover off one sort of misdemeanor that goes out there is sometimes the same as telling someone to slow their breathing down. We might tell someone we need to take a deep breath. You need to take a deep breath to calm down. So intuitively, we do know that breathing can help us calm down. But when we tell someone to take a deep breath, even though that might be a good piece of advice, the idea of a deep breath, what people tend to do with a deep breath is, or when we say take a deep breath, they go, and what is that? If I say take a deep breath and I go, I'm basically doing a vertical upper chest mouth breath that I'm trying to like breathe big, but it's not actually deep in nature. Deep means from low, like far from the top. Think of the deep end of a swimming pool. The water is far from the top in a swimming pool. So deep means breathing from low down. Deep breathing means stimulating the diaphragm, using the diaphragm to initiate the breath coming in. That's important because the diaphragm is related to our vagus nerve, which really helps with that parasympathetic activity, helps us calm down. The vagus nerve runs through the diaphragm itself. So when we breathe with the diaphragm, we are stimulating the vagus nerve. So breathing deep doesn't mean breathing big and upper chest. It means breathing from low down. Breathing from the nose rather than breathing from the mouth is more relaxing as well. Mouth breathing is more related to that sympathetic tone. Nasal breathing is more related to breathing with the diaphragm and that relaxation response, because it helps slow down our breathing, because the nose provides some resistance, purely because the nose is much smaller in terms of the holes than the mouth. So when if I say take a deep breath and I go, I'm actually breathing in fast, I'm overdoing the inhalation, and I'm breathing from the mouth, which is all sending messages of sympathetic tone, of stress, and I'm already feeling stressed. Whereas what I need to do is think about breathing slower, breathing calmer, breathing from the diaphragm, using the nose to help stimulate that. And like, just in very simple terms, like that is where we want to try and make sure we've got our understanding of how our breathing is affecting our stress response and our physiology. And then you know, I want to be able to give you tools to be able to then start to do this in practice, away from when we're feeling stressed, so that also giving you tools that when you are really feeling stressed, I can actually do something about it.